mushrooms, okra, preferably not fried, onions, peas, pumpkin. Anybody eat pumpkin? You can actually use pumpkin in place of oil and eggs in baked goods. It's really cool. Snow peas, snap peas, spinach, squash. Anybody tried spaghetti squash before? It's good. Tomatoes, turnips, zucchini. So any of these. You want half of your plate to be these foods here. How many do y'all have on your list? 4? You're going to eat 4 of those every day, all day?
Well, not every day. 4 of mine would eat.
Pick out 1 or 2 that you're willing to try again, that you haven't tried in a while. Okay. It's good season for zucchini. What about you, Chris?
I usually do asparagus or avocado, or I do spaghetti squash. We'll do it with marinara sauce.
Yeah.
Spaghetti.
That's good. Scott, you got a good few on there?
Yeah, I like most of it.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, so non-starchy vegetables first. It doesn't have to all be a big salad. It could be a little side salad and another vegetable. Now keep in mind that at your meat and 3, your vegetable plates, it's not always these things. You'll see it's a lot of the starchy vegetables. So make sure that they're non-starchy. These usually live in the refrigerated section of the grocery store. This time of year, fresh is great. In the winter, frozen is just as good. And if you use canned, just make sure you rinse them off. Okay, this is where you're all going to like me, because the next thing I want you to put on your plate is the protein. Okay, so everybody look at your palm. Everybody's palm's different. At least a palm size serving of protein on your plate, if not a little bit bigger. Okay? And this would include beef, chicken, turkey, fish, pork, eggs. Y'all like those, right? Yeah. So at least at least a palm size serving on your plate. Fish would include salmon, cod, redfish, tuna, shrimp, scallops, something like that, okay? So all your meats. And this is also where dairy goes, okay? Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, regular cheese, milk. What kind of milk do y'all drink? 2%? Any skim milk people? Okay, that's fine. The vitamins in milk are best absorbed with fat. So you want to do at least a 1%. Studies are coming out to show that full-fat dairy is actually better for us. I know, crazy, we thought it wasn't. But, so anywhere from 1% to whole milk is fine. It does come with some carbohydrate. So you'll see the carbohydrates in our diet will come later, but milk does have a little bit of carbohydrate in it, but it's a very balanced food. So, now the important thing to remember with protein is you have to think about how the animal was raised before the product got to you. So this is where you do want to invest in organic if possible, or get local if possible, grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chickens, cage-free eggs, wild-caught fish. Has anybody heard the story behind tilapia? Do you know how tilapia is raised? Tell us. Basically, over in Thailand, they have these big vats, and they put the tilapia in there. They can't swim around very good, and they raise the chickens above the tilapia, and they feed the tilapia from the chickens. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why you want to get wild-caught fish, preferably somewhere near the USA. So just look, see where your food's coming from. Do a little investigation. This is also where you want to try to avoid hormones and antibiotics too, because that's it. Well, the fried, you're going to get an unhealthy oil, and you're going to get a carbohydrate in the batter. So yeah, we'll talk about fried. Yeah, preferably grilled, baked, broiled, something like that. Okay, so good so far. Vegetables first, then protein. Next is healthy fat. So this one might actually not be like a portion on your plate. It might be how you season the food after it's cooked, or cook the oil with when you're cooking it. But this is where nuts and seeds and nut butter, like peanut butter and almond butter, this is where these live. A lot of times they're considered protein sources, and while they do have protein, they're more healthy fat. What kind of oil do y'all cook with, or wives cook with, or what? Crisco? Where have you been living? Under a rock? No Crisco. But, what? Canola oil? Okay. Any olive oil? Okay, olive oil is good. Canola oil and Crisco are vegetable oils, and they're not so good for our health. So you want to do it. I know, and you know what, Natalie, close your ears, but I'd rather you cook in bacon grease than Crisco. Okay, but or real butter, yeah. Real butter. These, when you're cooking at high temperatures, it's better to use something that's solid at room temperature. That's why people like to use Crisco for frying. But real butter or coconut oil or even bacon grease would be a better fat to cook with. Peanut oil is okay too. Just because Chick-fil-A cooks in peanut oil, though, doesn't make it healthy. Has anybody used coconut oil before? It's a white solid. It looks like Crisco.
Yeah. You can do what's that swished around thing?
Oil pulling. Have you done it?
No, my wife, I saw her doing it.
Did she actually do it?
She tried it. I don't know.
You melt 2 tablespoons of coconut oil and you swish around your mouth for 20 minutes. Now, I couldn't swish anything for 20 minutes, much less coconut oil. It whitens your teeth. It gets rid of migraines. It makes your skin, it's like cures all. Yeah, but if you can do it, more power to you. I just couldn't.
We have some, and they put it on their arm for the eczema.
Yes, exactly. You can use it as lotion. It's an antimicrobial. You can clean your house with it. It's like wonder stuff.
It's good for butcher blocks.
Yeah, anything. Get you a jar of coconut oil. And that's good. Again, avocado shows up. And then omega-3s. Because remember, while I was talking about all those symptoms, I kept saying the word inflammation, and that's like, if you think about when you get a cut and it gets red and warm, that's inflammation. It's just happening on the inside. Omega-3 helps to decrease inflammation. So this would be like using ground flaxseed, maybe in a smoothie or yogurt. Walnuts are high in omega-3s. And then you can supplement. Is anybody supplementing with omega-3? I have before. I'm not doing it now, but supplementing can be good just to help decrease inflammation if cholesterol is a problem. So you do want to incorporate healthy fats. Eating fat does not make you fat, okay? Even though that's what we were taught. It's not true. Okay, this next small section is where we have to fit a lot of stuff that we like in, okay? So we're going to start with fruit. This is a source of carbohydrate. So you do want to be mindful about your portions. Depending on your goals is how many times a day you would eat fruit. If your goal is fat loss, I would do fruit 1 to 2 times a day. If that's not your goal, you can do it up to 3 times a day. But this includes all fruit: berries, melons, apples, bananas. I would be mindful about the portion. A cup is a portion of fruit, okay? So banana, there's really long bananas, do half a banana. Okay, and think about your fist when it comes like to apples and oranges and things like that, no bigger than your fist. If it is bigger, just know that you're getting more than you should, like more than a serving. But the first thing that you'd want to try to put on your plate is fruit. If you don't have any fruit or you don't want fruit, the next thing would be starchy vegetables. So these are where beans, lentils, corn, potatoes, sweet potatoes, that's where these come in. I forgot green beans. They're a non-starchy vegetable. If you, like black-eyed peas would go here. If you cook it and it foams when you cook it, like the water foams, then it's a starch. So that's like your peas and black-eyed peas and stuff. A cup. Each time you eat, this is every time you eat, you get a cup of carbohydrates, okay? Whether you choose to fill that with fruit, or a starchy vegetable, or maybe you split it up and you do half a cup of fruit and half a cup of corn. It's up to you, but you get a cup on your plate of one of these things. Now, we still have grains. This also has to go in here. So this is anything made with flour or flour-based products like crackers, cookies, gravy, pasta, cereal, bread, rice, oats, grits. So you can see, especially in the South, we can fill our whole plate with these things. That vegetable plate is actually more like a carbohydrate plate. So you just have to be mindful about your portions.
1 cup of that.
Yeah. So think about cereal. I don't know about y'all, but I've never sat down and just had a cup of cereal. It's more like 2 to 3 cups, you know? So, and then if you're being healthy, you might put some blueberries on top, but that's more carbohydrate. So you have to be mindful about all these things adding up. So we're going to walk through, this is what a plate should look like at each meal. So let's walk through each meal. So breakfast. How could I do a healthy plate at breakfast? Biscuit gravy. Now the eggs I agree with, for sure. The eggs would go up here. Okay, but a Nutri-Grain bar, you're just getting carbohydrate. There's no protein with it.
Eat bacon.
Bacon. And what else?
That's you. I
Just all bacon?
Well, I
Okay.
get that Costco pack already pre-cooked bacon.
Mhm.
Eat some of it.
Yeah. No, bacon's fine. Put some eggs with it. That'd be even better. Honestly. Eggs are not going to raise your cholesterol. Bacon's not going to raise your cholesterol. But it's about limiting these things. But you want to pair them, because remember, this is energy. So if you just have bacon, you might find that you feel a little sluggish. Like your brain might be a little foggy. So it might be good to put some kind of carbohydrate with it. You could do Greek yogurt and some berries. You could do some oatmeal and a boiled egg. Does that make sense?
What about those of us that have
You already, oh yeah, stored energy. True. That's so true. If you want to go off your stored energy, protein up, baby. So what about lunch? How could you make lunch fit the healthy plate?
salad?
You could do a salad, because this is where, and at breakfast, if you were really doing a good job, you could put some veggies in those eggs. Maybe make an omelet. Because you do want to get vegetables every meal. But lunch is where you really start to get your veggies. So you could do a salad. What would you put on the salad?
Yeah, you do like a man salad, like a big old chicken breast and some bacon, cheese.
Okay. What kind of dressing?
Well, I do ranch, so you get the fat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not healthy fat, but yeah, you are getting some fat. Yeah. So at least you hit the vegetables, protein, and you could put some fruit on that, or corn or beans. If you were doing like a taco salad, you could do something like that. What else? What do y'all eat for lunch?
Turkey sandwich.
Turkey sandwich. Okay. So, sorry, he had donuts behind you, and he was putting them to the door. So you've got 2 pieces of bread, right? What do you put on this sandwich? A what? Mayonnaise. Okay, that's a not so healthy fat. What else?
Turkey.
Turkey. Lettuce. Tomato. Cheese.
Yep.
Cheese. Okay. Now, what do you eat with the sandwich?
I had fries today.
Fries. You had what?
Pretzels.
Pretzels, fries. What about a cookie? Those things all fit here. But you've already had 2 pieces of bread. So you've already hit your limit, you know? So that's where I always recommend, if you're sitting down, take the top piece off, because right there you're cutting half your carbohydrates out and you have room for some fruit or chips or something like that. Do you see how it can add up and you don't even realize it? You know? What about dinner? That's an easy one to do the plate.
Steak with carrot.
You're like Atkins man over here. You could do steak. What else? Look at those vegetables that you have down on your list. What kind of vegetables? Cabbage. And English peas. And then what kind of starch would you want with that? This is the good part. Baked potato. Yeah, you're having a steak. So steak and baked potato, steak and sweet potato. Okay? So you can fill these up. It's not that carbohydrates are the enemy, but we just eat way too many of them. And then with a snack, you always want to start with your protein. You always want to have some protein with your snack. Has anybody ever eaten an apple and you just feel like you ate air and you could just keep eating forever? That's how I am. If I eat fruit or something, I'm like, what's next? So if you eat some kind of protein, you put some cheese with that apple, or you use some yogurt or something like that, then you feel a little bit more full and satisfied. And that's where nuts are good for snacking too, in a small portion. Okay, some other things we didn't cover yet are sugar, condiments, and processed oils. So we'll cover that real quick. So with sugar, remember I was talking about that inflammation? Sugar is highly inflammatory, okay? And the problem is we get it in so many different processed foods. Some of the processed foods that have sugar in it, your bread, barbecue sauce, tomato sauce, granola bars, yogurt, especially like a fat-free or a light yogurt, dried fruit, ketchup, and salad dressings, especially a fat-free or light salad dressing. When they take the fat out of something, they add sugar back into it to make it taste better. So you're better off just choosing the full fat one. But if you're wondering if a product has sugar in it, look for some of these ingredients. So it would be sugar, high fructose corn syrup, syrup, brown rice syrup, honey, agave nectar, evaporated cane juice, glucose, sucrose, dextrose, anything ending in OSE is a sugar, okay? And you'll be surprised at how many different products have sugar in it. And the thing is, if I'm gonna eat sugar, I wanna eat a brownie, or I wanna eat a cookie and I want it to be good. I don't wanna get my sugar from bread or tomato sauce. You know, I wanna be more intentional about sugar, and that's what I want for you, is to be intentional when you do eat sugar and not let it sneak into all these different food products throughout the day. Condiments, this can add a significant amount of carbohydrate, sugar, and unhealthy fat to a meal. Some of the ones that are the biggest culprits are ketchup, barbecue sauce, salad dressings, honey mustard, jelly, jam, mayonnaise, relish, soy sauce. But instead, you can use mustard salsa, homemade ranch. This is the homemade ranch dip, 6 ounces of Greek yogurt and a package of ranch seasoning. And you can mix it up and keep it in your fridge. It's a good ranch dip for vegetables, or you can thin it down and use it as a dressing. A homemade barbecue sauce, equal parts balsamic vinegar and tomato paste. No, it's not going to taste like Sweet Baby Ray's, but it will do the job. You can also use vinegar, horseradish, liquid aminos. This one's kind of a different one, but it tastes just like soy sauce without all the sodium. Guacamole, hot sauce, vinegar, and pesto. So it's just about